right, well, you know, yesterday even Democrats blanched at the president comparing those opposed to this deal, Republicans, more to the point, the Iran deal, as being in line with the mullahs in Iran, who were the ones shouting death to America and all of that. Well, Josh Earnest kind of doubling down on those comments that he has no problem with them. They have no problem with them. They still feel that way, and they are still, you know, joining these two critics of this deal, this group of those opposed, and not only Republicans, by the way, with the mullahs in Iran, who are also opposed. So they're not dialing that back one iota. To Senator David Perdue, Republican of Georgia, what he makes of that. Well, I guess if in doubt, don't show any doubt. But, Senator, what do you make of that? They stand by those comments.
Well, I think the president is going to an unfortunate place there. We're hopeful that this won't be a partisan issue. We're hopeful that people will look at this document in its entirety with all the other comments and information that we've received over the last few days and make a nonpartisan decision. This is bigger than me. It's bigger than our parties. This is about our national security. And frankly, I think the president is desperate for a deal at any cost, and that's unfortunate.
All right, now, as you know, he has been saying, and he echoed again yesterday at American University, that much like JFK, who made that venue famous, arguing for nuclear disarmament with then the Soviet Union, that you're always going to have critics arguing against the wisdom of doing such a deal. You're always going to have doubters about the doability of such a deal, but you got to do it. And guys like you get in the way of progress and peace. What do you say?
Well, that's what I'd be saying, too, if I had a weak argument. Their argument is this is not a great deal. It's the best deal we could negotiate, and we need to try it, and we're in no worse position in the future. This is a bad deal. It does not achieve what the president himself said he wanted, and that is to preclude Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. I believe this deal does not do that. I've been very measured in my approach to this, but the evidence here in this document shows me that we are in a weaker position in 10 or 15 years at the end of the sunset period to hold Iran accountable and preclude them from becoming a nuclear weapon state.
And a number of your Democratic colleagues agree, but I guess what they're figuring, this was my calculation, Senator, you know this far better than I, that the president was really speaking to a very limited audience of Democrats who are undecided, who might take the cover of a Nancy Pelosi or a Barbara Boxer or others like that who've come out for this deal, Nelson in Florida, and say, well, let's keep you guys in line. We know this is going to be rejected in the House and the Senate, but not by a veto override-proof margin, so we'll be fine. What do you think of that?
Well, we haven't given up on that. We got to this point because we took a nonpartisan approach in our Foreign Relations Committee and passed it unanimously out to get this 60-day review period for this very reason, and that's to give us time to get information about what's in this deal. Now that we've seen this deal and we're getting all the other testimony around the other information that is important here, we're seeing the weaknesses in the deal. I have two major problems with this deal. Number one, it doesn't achieve the goal of precluding them from obtaining a nuclear weapon. And we allow them to enrich, Neil. There are 18 countries in the world that have civil nuclear programs, and then we don't allow them to enrich. There are only 5 countries that have civil programs and are allowed to enrich. Countries like Germany, Japan, Holland, Brazil, Argentina. And yet we're allowing this bad actor, Iran, to join the ranks of those upstanding countries. The second thing is the sunset period here, Neil. 10 to 15 years goes by very quickly. And when you look at the position that we'll be in vis-a-vis Iran in 10 years, they'll be stronger, and our ability to reinstate sanctions and preclude them from becoming a nuclear weapon state is lessened over the sanction period, or the period of the sunset that we have in this deal.
You know, I always learn a lot, Senator, when you come, but the biggest thing I learned here is that Holland has nuclear capability. That's amazing. I did not know.
Well, there are 9 countries, Neil, that have a bomb. There are 5 in the NPT. Right. There are 4 that are not in the NPT that have it. Only 9 countries have the bomb, but 18 countries are allowed to enrich. I'm sorry, they have. Well, Holland is one of 5. There are 18 countries that have civil programs.
What you're saying is you don't want to mess with Holland. All right, but Senator, seriously, thank you very, very much, and enjoy your insight. I do. I always.